Hi everybody, we're ready to go live. Thanks for joining us. It's been an exciting day at our house. So today we're hi. Today we're going to be talking about Murphy, Plan B, and Hurricane Irma. Straight ahead. Hang tight. Now we're really back. Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? Thanks for joining us. So, Hurricane Irma. Go figure, right? So let's, we've had an interesting day where we're trying to kind of figure out what to do. You know?
Well, I mean, a well-planned vacation has plans B and C and D. You know, because you have to plan for weather, you have to plan for, you know, the what ifs, and you know, I do this all the time. You know, I told you before, I'm a wedding planner, and this is some of the stuff I do. A lot of outdoor weddings where we are, and this is some of the stuff that I look at all the time. What, you know, depending on the time of year, you know, you've got rain, tornadoes, depending on where you're at, you know, flooding, you know, hurricanes. Not in on my area, but, you know, definitely people that I work with, you know, places like Virginia Beach and, you know, that kind of thing, have to deal with that hurricane. And up here, it's usually winter weather and ice. You got to have some emergency plans in place.
Yeah.
We knew going to Orlando was going to be rainy.
Yeah. Well, and we also knew that, you know, let's face it,
hurricane season.
It's hurricane season. We knew it was hurricane season. So, okay. So we were in the back of our minds, we were prepared for this, but we did not have a full-fledged, well-hatched Plan B.
And C and D.
And C and D.
What we've been doing since Irma popped up out there in the Atlantic, we started to go over cancellation policies and the things that we booked. You know, okay, so we looked at the camper contract that we had. All right, what do we do for if we have to cancel, if we have to, like, before we get here? What do we do if we have to cancel in the middle of our vacation because of, you know, like if we're evacuated, what are we going to do? Our situation's a little bit different because we're renting a camper. We don't own it. And we're not, you know, we're not staying in a hotel room. And, you know, of course, we're at the campground, you know, it's campground. It's, you know, you got trees and, you know, and water and debris. And, of course, you've got trailers that, you know, are not very sturdy, you know, and so we just had a lot of things that we started thinking about. Like, we really need to look into this more. And so we found, started poking around and asking people in our camper groups and in the Disney World Junkies group, and then going and checking out Disney's hurricane policy, because they do have one. You know, just like, okay, what do you do?
Let's see if we can find that. We'll bring it up.
Okay, you go, JT, look that up. Just Google that. That's how I found it.
I remember it was on the Disney Moms panel.
Well, actually, if you just Google Disney World hurricane policy, you'll get like a list of a bunch of different questions and FAQ, and they will go over all the different things. And what I also did at the what was that blog? The Disney it was a tourist blog. Orlando Tourist. Dookie. I'm going to have to look that up in my notes because that is where I found out the history of what Disney did last year when Hurricane Matthew came through. And that was in October.
Right.
Not too much, not just but a few weeks after. I think it was somewhere around October 6th or something. What they did at the fort was on a Thursday, because I guess the hurricane came in on Friday. So Thursday, they evacuated the fort at 2 o'clock. And those guests were relocated to hotel rooms. Some people left early, but the other people were evacuated to like Port Orleans or another resort hotel.
Which is nice.
Yeah, really. I mean, there was no extra charge for these people. What I do remember is a cast member had chimed in on that conversation and said that they took the RVs and they parked them in a special lot. And the abbreviation was SPOL. I don't know what that stands for, but they parked them in this lot together, and then they surrounded them by buses, which I thought was kind of interesting.
That's good.
And so they closed the park at 5. All the parks, they evacuated the parks at 5, and so then people were in their rooms until Saturday. The parks everything was closed all day Friday, so I guess that's when all the hurricane and the winds and all that stuff came in. And then Saturday, the parks reopened. And I don't know when the fort reopened. I don't have that history, but that's what they do at the fort. And if it's not really bad, you just ride it out. From what I understand, Disney World has a rating from FEMA that is it's like one of the best places to be it's one of the best places to be in a hurricane, because they built their stuff to withstand hurricanes. So and they're inland. They're like an hour from the coast. So
right. So
based on that information, and we also know that Disney doesn't refund your tickets. If you would be out a park day, so like if that were us in that situation last year, we would be out that Friday day. So either you can try to make it up or extend your vacation somehow, but I don't know. They didn't do anything for tickets. They did, because it was during the Halloween season and the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. They did actually refund the tickets for that night that they had to cancel the party, which is nice.
That's good.
But because if you're a family of 5 like us, it's like a $400 to go to that party, and so they that was nice that they refunded. Or you could pick a different day, you could reschedule or get another park ticket, a 1-day park ticket, and so there were a few choices that you could do there. So from what I understand, Disney does a really good job when this kind of thing comes up. So with all of that in mind, we started laying out all of these different scenarios, very much like the spaghetti models that we're seeing for this hurricane.
Yes. The spaghetti cone of doom.
The lovely spaghetti models.
Somebody said cone of doom on Facebook today, yeah. Yeah, we're looking for the cone of doom it's not narrowing the way we wanted it to narrow, for sure. So recapping, we are headed to Disney, supposed to be checking in at Fort Wilderness on Saturday of this week.
Yeah, because they were.
So
don't know what day it is.
Right, and that's about the time that Irma is supposed to be parked over Cuba for a minute, and it looks like she's going to be big enough, and they're expecting Category 4 hurricane now, and looks like she might be big enough that Orlando is going to be pretty wet at about 2 o'clock on
Saturday afternoon. And
that's okay. We can handle wet. That's not a problem. The challenge that we have had, and of course we're guessing, everybody's guessing at this point, is what do we do if Irma decides to take a hard right and go north?
That was the latest tracker thingy.
Right.
Spaghetti strand that we saw. It went straight up. Actually, 2 of them did. They went straight up through Kissimmee and where's the other place? Well, Kissimmee was this way, and then something else. Anyway, yeah, went right
Kissimmee's
straight through.
Close enough.
Well, yeah, that's it. That's yeah, definitely. Sorry, I shake the camera. So, so we've been talking, the last 24 hours, we're supposed to check in right about the time it's down there. Mm-hmm. So what, we thought of, and without knowing if it's going to take a turn and go north yet, we don't know maybe tomorrow we might know. Tomorrow is Tuesday, so we might know a little bit more. We're looking at, okay, so we'll just shift everything, maybe shift it one day. So instead of Saturday to Saturday, we have a Sunday to Sunday.
Right. That may not help us, though, if Irma takes a hard right.
Right. That was right. That's all changed in the 24 hours.
And it's all if, right? So our activities today have been planning Plan B.
Right, laying all of these scenarios out and talking about them. Like, well, what if this happens and we could do this? And, so our basic thing here is not, because again, it's not the hotel room, it's the camper, and it's based on availability that Eddie has. Well, I said his name. Anyway, our guy Eddie. Yo, Eddie! He has, based on what his availability is, and so JT's been texting with him. And of course, Eddie lives in Orlando, so he's fully aware of everything. So he's got a little bit of flexibility, but not a lot, because when it gets into the following week, he has another reservation. So, okay. Right. So, all right. So
So that's what we needed to know.
We needed to know that.
So we needed to see, well, can we shift, right? Can we arrive on Sunday and leave on Sunday instead of arriving on Saturday and leave on Saturday? So we know we have the flexibility of one day, which may not help us.
We also, what we're not really worried about is our tickets. So with our
tickets we're good on.
Yeah, because we purchased them individually. They don't activate, I guess. Well, they don't. What do I want to say? Once we activate them, that's when we have a problem, because then we have 14 days to use them. If we don't, if we just reschedule this entire thing, like if we just this week and cancel and go for another day or another week, maybe in another month, we're good. We're good with everything, because we haven't lost any money. We've put a deposit down at the campground, and that's and we have our tickets. And, we haven't really lost anything. We have our tickets until December of 2018.
Right.
So they're good through.
So we got as long as we don't start using them. As soon as we start using, so if we go next week and we just roll the dice, we may lose out on our tickets.
Right. So there's that. JT does have flexibility with his schedule, where we could shift a little bit, or if we needed to extend, if we had, I don't know, but if we have to extend, let's say we get down there and we just kind of have to, ride it out for a little bit, and then we start our vacation like on Tuesday or something, or Monday, then we can go Monday and maybe extend it a few days instead of trying to cram everything into the leftover days that we have for the week.
Right.
So that's nice. And when we also homeschool, so I'm sure the kids will not mind not having to start when we said we were going to get back. So
yeah, poor them, right?
Yeah, but it does. I certainly do not want to start in October. Start school in October.
It does give us flexibility, right?
But it does, yes. Thankfully. Okay, and then the other thing is Fort Wilderness.
Right.
What availability do they have? Can we shift our whole vacation, the one day, Sunday to Sunday? What if we have to just wait, but we can check in on maybe Monday? And again, it's all. Then we just go Monday to Saturday, or Monday to Sunday, actually, because Eddie said he can leave the camper till Sunday. So we have a lot of spaghetti things that we're looking at.
Right.
The one thing, though, that I think is different for us than it is for most other people that I've talked to who are also vacationing this same week. You know, they're flying in, and you know, so they have no transportation while they're there other than Disney buses, but we have our van. We can always go.
Right.
We have the ability to just get out of Dodge. And the other thing is that we have friends. My husband has a college buddy, and his wife and family live in Orlando.
They're right there in Orlando, and they said, yes, come stay with us. Yay!
Hi, Mark. Hi, Deb. And you know what? I mean, that's not everybody that's going down there has that comfort zone, that little cushion that we have. That, you know, if we find out that we can't do anything in the parks until, you know, Sunday, Monday, you know, depending on how the storm goes and stuff. That's great, because what if we start the day or start our week on Monday, but we still can't get into the fort because there's like downed trees and all that stuff? Then we can just stay with them and do the parks. We still get our Disney vacation, and we also have that money from the camper that we're not using. So the camper, if we're not using the camper, you know, we're not renting the camper, then we have that money plus the campsite that we can use for dining in the park. Right?
Right. So let's look at
multitasking.
Right. Let's look at the official hurricane policy. So I wish there was a good way for me to give you guys the URL here. There really isn't. It is on the Disney website, and I did just Google this. Disney World hurricane policy, like Darlene said, and you know that got it done. So pretty good information. Essentially, kind of boiling this down, Disney. If there are sustained 30-mile-an-hour winds and a hurricane warning
for Orlando,
they will close the parks. That is their published criteria. So, hurricane watch, no. Sustained 30-mile-an-hour winds seems to be the threshold that Disney is going to use. By the way, their hurricane policy applies to not just Disney World. It applies to all Disney resorts, including they mentioned Hilton Head and also Vero Beach. If you are vacationing and you are further north, you're further up the East Coast, this may still impact you, so you might want to also be looking if you are impacted next week. Yeah.
We just don't know. We just don't know.
What fun, huh?
So yeah, we've got we've got a few different scenarios that we're looking at, and we really can't do anything until we figure out what Irma's gonna do.
Right.
And
so it's all about Plan B. So today we have interacted with the guy that's renting our trailer to us. I was on the phone with Fort Wilderness today. Of course, Fort Wilderness, Disney at this point had no official word on on policy, which is expected, you know, because they're really the forecast map is all over the place. So and then the next thing we were doing was we're seeing, well, should we go a little early? So we can get into Orlando and maybe we can hang with our friends. And then once the coast is clear, then we could go ahead and proceed with our Fort Wilderness adventure. Huh? Coast is clear. No pun intended there, but I guess it came out pretty good, didn't it? I should claim it. So, really just running through those different scenarios. And this kind of goes back to what we said from the beginning. if you can, be flexible. Especially when you're in hurricane season, when you make your reservations, right? So we had really hoped that with Harvey going past that we were going to be done with hurricanes for this year. Yeah, did not turn out to be the case.
Yeah, I thought that if anything, it would, like once Harvey went through, sometimes you think, who will get a break? But, no, that's not the case.
Right.
One thing that we did not do, but, and I think it's because, again, our situation for our vacation is we did not purchase travel insurance, but we have, we checked into it very seriously yesterday. Well, no, Saturday. Because
that was something else that we were looking at was travel insurance. And
right.
Do we need to purchase it? Because we're not flying, right? And if we were flying, it would be a slightly different thing.
Yeah, it would be a lot now because, when you're looking at the impact in this of the storm, even if it takes a hard right and doesn't, whatever, you're going to feel something, especially from the southern part of Florida, so that's going to probably impact flying. Some people that I've talked with on Facebook are flying into Miami. Well, that's going to change because even if the storm just goes right through and into the Gulf, you still have on Saturday, those airports that are going to be impacted on the southern tip of Florida. So, when you have to make flight changes or you have delays, well, actually, delays, you just camp out in the airport, but you might have to get a hotel. So you have extra fees there, or you have flight, if you have to change your flights, there's fees for that. And then again, if you've got issues with lost baggage, damaged baggage, that kind of stuff, the travel insurance is there to help you recover some of that money that you have to shell out at that last minute, or even if your trip is interrupted. So you're there, like some of the people that are vacationing this week that are going to be there through Sunday, have to actually cut their vacation short because they're going to want to be getting out before they want to fly out. That's a big thing. If you're driving it, you can just kind of go, right. But when you're flying, you have to rely on getting to the airport early and all this other stuff and the weather. So I do recommend that Travel X insurance, and that's who Disney also recommends. And there's a friend of mine whose dad actually recommended that too, who has been he's a long time user of that. It was not a lot of money. I even think the price was around $78 per person above the age of 18. And then so what is that? That's $156 when you've got a vacation that costs, $6,000 or so, for a week, and you've got that peace of mind knowing that all of this, these things will be covered for you, or at least you'd be able to get reimbursed. So anyway, that's something that I think that everyone should check into, especially if your vacation is going to be costing you, over $3,000, you should be checking into some travel insurance, trip insurance. Check your homeowner's policy, your auto policy. A lot of our stuff is going to be covered just from under our homeowners and our auto insurance policy. So anyway, yeah, I would definitely recommend that. So
there you have it. So at this point, we are fluid. Right? Because we can be. Our hope would be that we don't have to push it too much. Maybe if we can shift by a few days, that would be good. Our trailer guy can't shift by a few days.
Right.
So that's a little bit of a challenge for us. But you know what? I think that's not an unsurmountable thing. And then, we have that possibility of just go ahead and reschedule. That's certainly not our druther. We're very much looking forward to going to Disney World. But, hey, this is a huge investment for anybody going to Disney World. So it helps us to, since we don't have the insurance, to go ahead and make some decisions that will, basically safeguard our investment. This is an investment for us, and pretty much a one-time thing, right? So.
Yeah, if we're going back, it's gonna be a while. So.
Right.
Well, also some other things that we're considering. Since we'll be staying off park, off site. We have to consider driving in each day too. So that kind of changes our park itinerary that we had.
Yeah, it would definitely change things.
Because then we wouldn't be able to take the break in the middle of the day like we wanted, and so that'll make a long day.
Honestly, one of the things I'm most looking forward to is the trailer.
I was too.
The trailer's pretty. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're very excited about Disney, and we're gonna have a great time. But the trailer looks super cool.
Well, I just camping and spending time. Not that we can't have fun in a hotel room, but I mean, it was just the whole. It's the whole. Right. Camping experience and everything. So we have gone in. I was telling somebody earlier today, who was taking their son on for their 10th birthday trip, and she said, she says, do I need to be worried?
Yeah.
Is this going to be ruined? And I'm like, honey, it's all about perspective.
Right.
If you if you go into it with Hakuna Matata, baby.
Hakuna Matata.
We're gonna Hakuna Matata all the way to Disney.
So we got a question from Triple W Adventures. They
yay!
They wanted to know if the RV rental will cut the days off the amount if we come in late due to the storm. And yes, he said he was going to work with us if we're there and Fort Wilderness closes. He's also prepared to refund us any monies that we did not spend, so he's going to refund us the difference. So I think he's fully flexible. He just has that hard stop on the other side for us, where he has another rental the following week. So we could only go to Sunday with him. So there you go. But thankfully, yes, we have. He's very understanding in that regard. And honestly, I asked him, well, when are you going to bail out? When is it you're going to protect your property and go ahead and pull it out? And he said he was just going to base it on when they close Fort Wilderness. So if they close Fort Wilderness, that's when he's going to come and take the RV. So there we go.
Yes. Yep.
Great question. Thank you for that.
I did ask to find out if the campground would offer a refund for nights that we didn't stay, because there's also not just the trailer fee that we pay, it's the campsite fee.
That's a mystery there. We still don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, we still don't. I did have a cast member chime in, but they still didn't give a definite answer. But it was they were saying, no, they won't do it. But at the same time, they were like, if you fuss about it, you might get it back. But then another RVer chimed in and said they got their money back for nights that they had to leave for Hurricane Matthew. So... so anyway, like I said, just always ask questions and just, be nice about it. We don't have to be like rude.
Oh, I had a great talk with several Disney guys today. One guy had no idea that you could rent RVs for Fort Wilderness. He says, I've learned something new today, and he worked at Disney. So there you go.
That was kind of, we were talking with friends last night. It was the same thing with I had no idea you could do that. We're like, well, we didn't either. We didn't even know the campground existed until about 2 months ago.
And now we all know.
Oh my goodness. So you can check
Charles, that's how we felt about it too. Oh no. What? Yeah.
Yeah. So, as far as like really being out money, I think that fear and that concern is kept at a minimum just by the way we're doing our vacation.
We're not really at a risk of losing money.
Yeah.
Unless we go and then have a big interrupted time, right? So if we get split up and for some reason we can't use our tickets, so we got 5 days of tickets. We can use those, but like I said, once we start using them, we only have 14 days to completely use them. So And that's because, we bought the ticket and we saved money on the tickets, but that's one of the limitations, right? So, but if we don't start using them, they're good until the end of 2018. So we have lots of time, no real pressure to go use them next week, except for the fact that we really want to go to Disney World next week.
It's almost like we waited this long, well, what's one more week?
Yeah, what's another week?
Another week could be another hurricane, because if you look out in the Atlantic, there was another disturbance that was behind Irma. So it's like,
well, right. Yeah, there's another one floating around out there behind this one. So, you never know what the week after that's going to bring. So,
no wonder that these 2 weeks are like the lowest weeks of the year.
Yeah, Charles, you're right. But we kind of led with that. We understood that September, late August through October is hurricane season in the Atlantic, and that's just the way it is. So we knew that going in. It's not, we really wish it didn't happen, but it did. Yeah, we can live with it.
We can. And you know what? I mean,
there's worse things.
Right. Again, yeah, I mean, if this whole thing was like a package deal that was everything was all purchased together, hotel and dining plan and tickets and all of this stuff, it might be a completely different story. I did find out, though, so we got our park tickets through GovX. It was not purchased through Disney. So Disney, even though it's a Disney ticket, Disney does not have to do any kind of a refund or anything, because we didn't purchase it through them. It would be like if you purchase your vacation from a travel agent or from, or you purchase things outside, it's whatever their cancellation policies are. So, you don't have to, we have a little visitor. Sorry, live TV people.
Yeah, nothing like being live.
Yeah. But anyway, it's they don't have to refund. Disney doesn't have to do it, because we did it through something else. So like the RV question,
right.
Obviously that's not Disney's responsibility, even though we're at their resort.
Right.
But if the resort campground wants to refund, that would be totally up to them, because we did not stay. So,
Triple W, thanks for that.
Yes.
I'm sure everything will work out just fine. Who knows? If we have to reschedule, maybe we'll be there the same time you are.
Yes, because we were talking about going like the first week of November. That's when I had originally looked. I think when I started doing this last year, I was like, "Oh, let's go in November because it's really slow."
Unless it's Thanksgiving.
Don't. Yeah. No, but I was thinking like the first week or second week of November, right before the holiday and right before Thanksgiving. So. And it might be decorated for Christmas.
There's that.
They do put Christmas decorations out, so Halloween and pumpkin stuff is already out at Disney. So.
Well, Charles, I hope it turns north into the Atlantic. I think that's what you meant. Let's go ahead and nail the Bahamas. It's all good.
Sorry,
we're not going to the Bahamas, but that's the tracks at 5:00. I don't know if Darlene, do you have that one somewhere?
Hurricane forecast model.
We'll show you the forecast model as of
this one.
Yes, that's the one. So hang on.
This is not a lot of spaghetti.
All right, there you go.
So I was trying to figure out what the black line was. It's like this super dark line there, and I was hoping like, oh, maybe that's the track, and it'll skirt the east coast of Florida. Which will still get wind and rain, but that's okay. We can, I don't even know if that would be Sunday, we'll just take the day and, hang out. We can hang out in the camper if it's not too much. If they don't close the fort, we can always hang out in the camper and just have to button everything up.
Yeah.
That will be an adventure.
So Triple W says they're there the 12th through the 18th. And, Charles, I'm not surprised. Go ahead, go north, go north.
So the 12th through the 18th. Well, yeah. Well, that means I won't get to spend my birthday in Magic Kingdom.
There was that. birthday in September.
So, well, my goodness. So yeah. So there, as you see, can I like zoom this in? Will it zoom in on there too? Like, Oh, it doesn't work. Oh, wait.
Yeah,
looky there.
Charles, that's the one we're worried about is the Cat 4 going up through the middle of Florida. That's exactly what we're worried about.
Is that what you're talking about? The blue line? Because there's a blue one and an orange one. Is that what you're talking about? Because there's a blue one.
Well, it looked like several of the tracks were showing it going through the middle of Florida.
Well, there's two. It's a blue and an orange one, and then you've got a yellow one that loops around and like circles Miami and comes out around. I don't know what this black one is. I wonder if that's like the majority of the models. There was no map key on here, which drove me nuts. Orlando Sentinel. That was the yellow one, and then whatever is that fuchsia pink, whatever. That one is the one that they had been talking about for a long time that was going to hit landfall around Charleston.
April Rain, we're with you. Get out of here, Irma. Go on. You're
Ain't
messing
nobody
up our
got
plans.
time for that.
So April Rain's they're planning to be there the same week we are. Are you also, April Rain, you staying at Fort Wilderness, or are you staying somewhere else on the resort?
Aww.
Let us know.
Happy birthday to your daughter. 16th birthday on the 10th. Aw.
That's a great place to
It's
have a
my
16th
birthday on the 14th. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Irma, go away. Hey, you know what? I did find there were some apps.
There's always an app.
My husband said that yesterday. Telling somebody about, hey, I can help you fix this. There's an app for that.
There's an app for that.
It's like, of course there is. Okay, so there were some apps that I cannot. I'm actually just getting ready to search for them, and I wrote them down before we got on our live stream here so that I could search them out. So if you've used any of these, let me know what you think. I'm going to use them and check them out and maybe do some posting about them later. But the one app is called iHurricane, the little I, and Hurricane HD.
iHurricane HD.
Yep, iHurricane HD is one.
Animal Kingdom Lodge. They're not far. You're not far from us.
Aw, I want to stay there sometime. That'll be so cool. Anyway, okay, so iHurricane HD. Then there's an app called Hurricane Pro, which if you follow Just Ask Darlene, hashtag Just Ask Darlene.
Hashtag Just Ask
That
Darlene.
might just be the kind of app for me.
I call her Weather Girl.
He's called me Radar for years. That little radar. So, okay. The next one is obviously it's Orlando Sentinel. They have their own app that they were plugging in their article. And then there's one that I think this is actually what it is. It is OCFL Alert. So I think it's like something like Orlando County, Florida Alert. And what they'll do is if you have that app on your phone, they'll send you weather alerts and updated information on, hurricanes and that kind of stuff. So I thought that would be kind of cool, especially while you're down there. In the middle of your vacation, you get weather alerts, storms, hurricanes, tornadoes, that kind of thing. So check those out, you guys. Or if you're using any of them, let us know. I would definitely keep one or two of them on my phone, especially when we go, just to have.
Oh yeah. Just what we're not seeing really good indications of right this minute are the timelines.
Oh my word! Yes. No, I can't find anything.
We're just not getting any good feel for when is it going to arrive and where. So if it's going to hit Orlando, or at least the rain bands are going to hit Orlando, we just don't know when that's going to happen. And I think that's because the National Weather Service and all these other prognosticators just don't know. Use that word.
Would you like a cookie?
That was my goal, to use that in a sentence today. It worked out pretty good.
I'm going to use prognosticate today.
I shall say prognosticate.
Oh my word. keep up with you. Okay, so yeah.
So you got the Orlando Sentinel, you're still up with that. So let's see.
The OCFL alerts, Hurricane Pro, iHurricane HD, Hashtag just ask Darlene. Oh, I said that. Okay.
Hashtag just ask Darlene.
Oh, we have fun on Facebook with that. Actually, yeah, there we go. I put it in the comments.
There you go.
Okay, I'm gonna put some of these
now.
in the comments too. The apps. Can check that one out. And
Weather is an art, not a science, says Charles. You're right.
oh my word! But if you
Requires
saw
some finesse, I guess.
if you saw the spaghetti models though, it was very artsy.
Yeah. So
Okay.
So you guys, if you haven't figured out yet, there's a little bit of a delay. So if you be patient with us while we respond to your chat messages,
That's
that
right.
we
What is
really
it?
appreciate it.
30-second delay or something like that.
It's a little bit of a delay. I'm not sure exactly how long it is, but
Okay, so here we go. I hope I got these all spelled right. Yes. Okay, Hurricane Pro, Orlando Sentinel app, OCFL alert, and Hurricane HD. That looked like that was going to be cool. So I'm gonna check those out. So yeah, so so I come home today.
Doobly doo. What's a doobly doo?
Doobly doo. Doobly doo. Doobly doo.
All right.
Anyway, so I come home, me and JT's like, oh, you're not gonna like this. And he said the governor.
We hadn't even talked about that. So the governor of Florida has issued a state of emergency for all of Florida so that they can begin preparations for the hurricane.
Whatever.
We're not fans. No.
Yeah, that was not happy. So, yeah. One thing though, after all we did all this conversation, we remembered that Eddie has a second camper.
It's a little smaller, but that's all right.
We still fit. This one
Oh, yeah,
was.
it's
This
still,
one
it's
was
still
a little
big trailer. It's just not as big as the one we're planning to
I
rent.
know, not a lot of bells and whistles, but it still looks very nice, and it definitely will sleep all 5 of us. And
The show notes are the doobly doo. I like it. All right.
doobly doo, doobly doo.
Doobly doo.
So he does have a second camper. If that one isn't rented, we'll have to ask and see, if we can shift our vacation days, and maybe we need to shift it out like a Monday to Monday or something like that. Thankfully we can do that. And if he has that second camper, well then maybe we can just do that and take that one.
Right.
So
But that's,
there may be that opportunity. We haven't gone there yet because we just had completely forgotten about it. We're like, gotta get these dates fixed.
Yeah, Charles, that's a great question. If we make it to the parks and clean up trash and limbs, could it count as a relief trip and be tax deductible? We're on a mission trip to Disney World because we need to save no, guess not.
Save Mickey Mouse.
Save Mickey Mouse. That's it. Yes, we must save Mickey. He's windblown.
Save the princesses.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Save the magic. Gotta save the magic.
I grew up on the East Coast.
Keep the magic alive.
And I grew up actually near the coast. One thing I have always found is that after a hurricane comes through, and many of you who have lived through hurricanes may be able to attest to this, but once a hurricane comes through, the weather afterwards is always so beautiful. It's just crisp. The air's crisp. It's like everything's been washed. It's usually not very humid right after a hurricane, which is surprising considering as much water as they dump. So if we could be there on the flip side of that hurricane when it's passed through already, it was going to be
nice
marvelous.
days.
That'd be a great time to be there before the next one comes up.
Yeah, and even just the remnants of Harvey that passed through here over the weekend, just that rain and that little bit of that tropical depression or whatever that came through, it was
save the
weather.
mouse. I love it. Hashtag save the mouse.
Yes. But even the weather after that, and that was just a little, that was just a little tropical whatever leftovers that came through, and that was the weather behind that for that brief period of time was just, it was so different. It's not like after it rains, you get all the humidity and then they get this thunderstorm and then you're like, oh, it's so nice and it smells so good, but even then it's not the same thing. And I never knew, I never noticed it because I never had experienced a hurricane until I moved to Virginia and got with this guy. So
yeah, well, I've been through quite a few. Save the mouse. I love it.
Hashtag save the mouse. You got it. Maybe we could start a thing.
Right.
We're good at starting things.
Yeah. So that's where we are today. Super awesome that you guys joined us tonight.
Yeah,
appreciate the chat. Hey, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead, please, and subscribe. You can click the... Here, let me see. Let me put myself full screen here, see if I can figure out which side I need to point to. You can click this button right here. To subscribe. Go ahead and tick the little bell icon so you can get updates whenever we go live or whenever we post a new video. And
we'll keep you updated.
Yeah,
definitely.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Five Rookies DIY.
Yes, I should post that spaghetti map, the one that was today about everybody guessing and it was all the spaghetti everywhere and stuff. That's been going around. I should post that one on Instagram.
April Rain, we'd love to hear how your adventures go next week.
Yes.
Certainly, if nothing else, this is an adventure. So, there's worse things.
That's true. That's true.
So, interact with us. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know how we're doing. If we're doing a good job, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. And if you don't like what we're doing, give us a thumbs down. Hopefully, you'll leave a comment to let us know what you don't like. Maybe we can fix it. And that's it. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, bye.
Bye.